The first time my daughter called me by my first name instead of Dad, it hurt worse than the day the judge sentenced me to prison. I remember sitting across from her in a visitation room, separated by years of mistakes and silence, watching this little girl I used to carry on my shoulders refuse to even look me in the eyes. She was only 11 years old, but the way she spoke to me sounded older, colder, like life had forced her to grow up too fast because of me. And when she finally said, "Marcus, my mom said the visit's over," something inside me broke quietly. Not all pain is loud. Some pain just settles into your chest and stays there for years. People think prison punishment begins when the cell door closes. They're wrong. Real punishment begins when the people you love stop seeing you as family. Before prison, my daughter used to follow me everywhere. That's the memory that destroys me the most. She wanted to dress like me, talk like me, sit next to me, even when I was doing nothing important. When she was little, she believed I could fix anything. Nightmares, broken toys, monsters under the bed. I still remember the way she used to run into my arms when I came home from work. Back then, I thought being a father just meant paying bills and keeping food on the table. I didn't understand that children are always studying you emotionally. They watch how you speak, how you handle stress, how you treat people, how you react when life becomes difficult. And I failed every one of those tests without realizing it. My anger had been growing for years before I went to prison. I was drinking too much, staying out late, chasing fast money with people who didn't care whether I destroyed myself or not. My wife warned me constantly. She begged me to slow down before something terrible happened. I still remember the way she used to run into my arms when I came home from work. Back then, I thought being a father just meant paying bills and keeping food on the table. I didn't understand that children are always studying you emotionally. They watch how you speak, how you handle stress, how you treat people, how you react when life becomes difficult. And I failed every one of those tests without realizing it. My anger had been growing for years before I went to prison. I was drinking too much, staying out late, chasing fast money with people who didn't care whether I destroyed myself or not. My wife warned me constantly. She begged me to slow down before something terrible happened. But pride makes people deaf. Especially men who think admitting they're lost somehow makes them weak. The night I got arrested, my daughter was asleep on the couch, holding one of my old hoodies because she said it smelled like me. I didn't know that would be the last normal night our family would ever have. The crime itself wasn't glamorous or cinematic the way movies make these things look. It was stupid, reckless, pointless. A robbery planned by desperate men pretending desperation justified bad decisions. Nobody went into that night expecting somebody to get hurt. But that's the lie people tell themselves before tragedy happens. We always think we're still in control, right until the moment we lose it completely. When the police finally surrounded us hours later, I remember lying face down on cold pavement, realizing my entire life had just split into before and after. But honestly, even then, I still wasn't thinking clearly about consequences. At first, prison feels unreal. Courtrooms feel unreal. Sentences feel unreal. Your brain protects itself by refusing to fully absorb what's happening. But honestly, even then, I still wasn't thinking clearly about consequences. At first, prison feels unreal. Courtrooms feel unreal. Sentences feel unreal. Your brain protects itself by refusing to fully absorb what's happening. The reality didn't hit me until months later during visitation, when my daughter saw me wearing prison clothes for the first time. She looked terrified. Not dramatic movie-type fear. Quiet fear. Confused fear. The kind children carry when the person who made them feel safest suddenly becomes someone the world calls dangerous. She sat beside her mother, gripping the edge of the plastic chair while staring at the floor. I tried smiling at her, because I thought fathers were supposed to stay strong. But she barely spoke the entire visit. And when it ended, she hugged her mother first, not me. That small moment stayed with me longer than the sentence itself. Years passed slowly after that. Prison changes your relationship with time. Days feel endless, but years disappear suddenly. Birthdays become phone calls. Holidays become memories. You watch your children grow through photographs and short visits inside gray rooms filled with security cameras and silence. My daughter stopped writing letters after the second year. At first, my wife made excuses for her. She's busy with school. She's just emotional right now. She still loves you. But deep down, I already understood what was happening. Children don't always express pain through anger. Sometimes they protect themselves by emotionally disconnecting. And honestly, can you blame them? My daughter spent years hearing classmates talk about her father being in prison. She watched her mother struggle alone financially and emotionally because of choices I made. She learned how to avoid conversations about family because speaking about me made her uncomfortable. By the time she became a teenager, I wasn't dad anymore in her mind. I was the reason life became harder. The reason birthdays felt incomplete. The reason her mother cried late at night when she thought nobody noticed. During one visit, I asked her carefully why she stopped calling me Dad. There was a long silence before she answered. I'll never forget it as long as I live. She looked directly at me and said, "Because dads are supposed to protect their families, not destroy them." I didn't know how to respond after that because the worst part about painful truth is that it doesn't leave room for arguments. That sentence followed me back to my cell and stayed there with me for years. Prison forces you to confront uncomfortable truths eventually. At first, you blame circumstances, bad influences, poverty, stress. But after enough lonely nights staring at concrete walls, excuses stop sounding convincing, even to yourself. I started realizing that my daughter wasn't rejecting me because she was cruel. She was protecting herself emotionally from disappointment. And honestly, I had given her every reason to. One of the hardest realities about prison is understanding that your sentence doesn't only punish you, it spreads into the lives of everyone who loved you. My daughter lost her childhood security because of me. My wife lost her partner. My mother lost sleep every single night worrying about her son. And I lost the right to expect unconditional love after breaking trust repeatedly. That's something many inmates struggle accepting. We want forgiveness, while forgetting forgiveness doesn't erase emotional damage. Years later, my daughter finally visited me alone for the first time as an adult. She looked so different sitting across from me. Older, stronger, guarded emotionally in ways she never used to be. We talked politely for almost an hour about work, life, normal things. Then before the visit ended, she quietly asked me something that still keeps me awake at night sometimes. She said, "Do you ever think about who I would have been if you never went to prison?" I couldn't answer immediately because the truth hit too hard. Children build themselves around the emotional stability they grow up with, and because of my actions, my daughter grew up around absence instead. Now I'm older. Prison has a way of aging people emotionally faster than physically. Most nights, after count clears and the noise finally dies down, I sit on the edge of my bunk, thinking about fatherhood differently than I used to. When my daughter was little, I thought love alone made someone a father, but love without responsibility eventually becomes pain. Being a father means consistency, presence, safety, trust. It means creating an environment where your child feels emotionally secure enough to grow without carrying your mistakes on their shoulders. And I failed at that completely. The sad truth is, my daughter refusing to call me dad isn't really about one word. It's about broken trust, broken childhood memories, broken stability. Words change when emotions change, and no amount of regret can travel backward through time to fix the years she lost because of me. People watching this might think the saddest part of prison is isolation, violence, or lost freedom. For me, it's something much quieter. It's knowing there's a little girl out there who once believed I was her hero, who now introduces me as a mistake she survived instead of a father she's proud of. And the worst part is understanding she has every right to feel that way.